How are we doing, guys? How are we doing? What an enthralling game of football we've just witnessed. Anyway, Leeds 0, Aston Villa 1 post-match reaction. We're joined by Phil. Phil Miles. How's things, mate?
Oh, good, mate. How are you guys doing? How you feeling?
Great until 2 hours ago, mate. Great.
Yeah. Nah, I think it's important after a game like that to sort of maintain a level of level-headedness and just sort of remember the long-term aspiration of the club. And realistically, like I personally think like 1-0 wasn't a real reflection on the game. Don't get me wrong, we didn't deserve to win. It wasn't like Everton where I feel like it's unjust and they've got away with one. But, you know, first couple of minutes, Bamford has a slip and we have exactly the same chances. They had to score their goal. They've got a big slice of luck. They've scored a goal, and after that, they've offered nothing. Don't get me wrong, we didn't exactly blow them away, but I think 0-0 or 1-1 would have been a fair reflection on the game. And realistically, in the long run, we're not worried about getting relegated. We're not worried about trying to fight for a place in Europe. We're trying to consolidate a place in the top half, or, you know, ideally at the start of the season, I would have taken 12th. If we finished 12th, fine. A draw would have been nice, but, you know, it's ended up as a 1-0 defeat, and we'll have to take it on the chin and move on.
For me, the way we lost tonight is worse almost than like the hammerings. You know, we got hammered by Leicester and Tottenham. So at least we created in those games in that kind of sense. But today, for me, Joe, we just never really got going. We never really were able to build momentum. Partly because Villa defended really well for me. I think Cons, McGinn in front of that back forward did a superb job, and the Canberra had a good game. But we've got to take a bit of responsibility ourselves, haven't we? Surely.
Yeah, agreed, mate. Like Phil said, I agree with him completely. I don't think Villa can come away and say they deserve the win. I mean, I know they got them, but you know, it reminded me. It always reminds me, right? If you don't take your chances, I'm not saying Rafinha should have finished the one just before they scored, the Bamford one, but it's just them fine margins is what I'm saying. Obviously, the bounce beat him, and it's that little bit of luck that we didn't have, and then they got that luck. You know, El Ghazi did well, took the corner, knew where to be, you know, and let's be honest, if the pitch is decent, probably Watkins doesn't slip and has an effort at goal and nothing more's said. But because he's slipped, and El Ghazi's been wise to it, and, you know, he did right. But I think, we didn't really do it. I think the best chance probably Rafinha at the end, the header. But other than that, mate, I think Tyler was frustrating. I thought he had an okay first half, but he just holds on to the ball for too long. Move it. It's so frustrating to watch because you can see bodies like descending on him, and we as fans are like, right, move it, and he just tries too much, and it comes down to that, to the squad depth as well, because I said in the second half it had such a championship feel about it for both sides.
Massively.
Obviously, they're missing Grealish. He's that little bit of spark. I know he was with them in the championship, but it's that extra step up in quality. We had our extra step up in Rafinha. However, for me today, was probably his poorest game in a Leeds United shirt. And that's not me saying he was rubbish, because his standards are up here. But I just think today, it didn't really work for him. I don't think, anyway. And I think he was let down a few times in terms of the passes that were played to him from Dallas, Roberts. You know, it was a little bit frustrating for him, but we can't expect him to be 10 out of 10 all the time, can we? And too many had an off day. I know, even like I've seen people in the chat, I don't want to see Costa start again, etc. But what did Harrison offer when he came on? Nothing, in my opinion. So it was just one of them.
He did create that Rafinha chance, though. It's a lovely ball in off Harrison, but he didn't do enough, did he? Didn't do enough when he came on, Harrison.
No, fair.
I don't honestly think Costa did a great deal wrong, to be fair.
No.
I think we'll probably we'll touch on this when we get to the player ratings in the next show, but I think it's important to remember with performances like this, especially with regard to the rating, that 5 it genuinely means average, and I really don't think a lot of our players tonight were anything more than average. But at the same time, I don't think that many of our players were anything less than average. I think everyone just had a bang average game, to be honest. I think I'd counteract the Tyler Roberts argument with, and don't get me wrong, I do think he was one of our poorest players tonight. But I spent a lot of the game watching Diego Llorente, and I was comparing his performances with kind of what we're used to seeing in the Championship from Ben White. And I thought it was really intriguing to watch the comparison between the two players and sort of see Ben White. We'll all remember, like, his finest characteristic was the way that he was so composed on the ball and he carried the ball out of the fence, and his passing was fantastic. But 9 times out of 10, my fondest memories of White were just carrying the ball up the pitch. And like, he did it for Brighton against us earlier in the season. And with Llorente, I think the reason, I mean, for me, the times during the game, obviously, I think a lot clearer after the game. But during the game, when I'm getting on his back, it's because he's passing out from the back rather than carrying out. And his passing out from the back sometimes isn't perfect and it goes straight to one of their players. Ideally, at this moment in time, Llorente, I'm going to try and still reserve judgment and not decide whether I think he's good or not yet. But for me, Koch, when he's fit, still comes back in and Llorente drops to the bench for me because Koch's a better player and
far better player for me.
Yeah,
I've got nothing against Llorente. I like Llorente, but I think Koch, the thing with Llorente for me today, Phil, and just in general, he was losing headers. That's the thing. You look at, it's not a big thing, but you look at those little things and think, is he aggressive enough to be like the big main centre back for us? I look at Struijk, Koch, they don't lose headers. They wouldn't have lost a header to Watkins tonight, like the way they did. And it's little things like that for me that frustrate me with Llorente from time to time.
I agree.
I thought he had a good game, though. I thought he did. For me,
he was all right. He was all right.
I thought he did well against Watkins. I thought he did anyway. We had this same debate on the watch along, Oscar, but I thought there was a few times where I thought he got beat, but he has that little bit of experience to stay on his feet. Yes, sometimes his passing is wayward, but there's also times when it's decent. I remember that ball into Roberts that just cut everybody out, and he was on the edge of the box. And
but that's no good though if he keeps giving the ball away another 6 times before that. In terms of in dangerous area. For me, maybe that's a bit of an exaggeration, but it's a
definite exaggeration.
Risks for me. It's a daft risk, so for me.
You can tell which side the pair of you are on. One's very pro Llorente, one's very anti Llorente. I'm going to have to stay bang in the middle here because if I go on one side, I end up like just making this decision for you, and I don't want to. I am all on the side.
On Llorente is that you look at Koch and Struijk. That's kind of the standard of kind of looking at now, and maybe that's a bit harsh because both have been excellent for me when they play, particularly Struijk in the last couple of weeks. Yeah. I just think Llorente was decent. I think it was an all right game for him today. I don't think he did anything especially wrong. A couple of frustrating moments. He was all right. I think compared to the rest of the team, but compared to Struijk and Koch, I just didn't think he was that dominant in that kind of sense. In terms of in the air, in terms of winning duels. I thought he lost a couple too many, but he was all right. He was all right, was Llorente. I'm not going to start on Llorente. There was far bigger culprits today. And I talk about Struijk. Struijk again was put in that holding midfield role.
Yeah.
For people who make the argument about Struijk not being a holding midfielder, I've occasionally made the argument. We've all occasionally questioned it. I was quite defensive. I think we were all quite defensive against Arsenal in terms of how we improved in the second half. But if you want to have an agenda against Struijk as a holding midfielder, that game for 60, 70 minutes of Struijk there, you've got all the content you need. And if you want to have a go at Struijk in holding midfield just from that 90 minutes for me.
Yeah, I think it's harsh. I think, don't get me wrong, like, he's not Calvin Phillips. We're playing a system that, in all honesty, is dictated to Bielsa by the quality of the players that he has at his disposal. Like, if we didn't have Calvin Phillips when Bielsa came to the club, do you think there's a chance that we would have played a different formation? Are we just playing 4-1-4-1 because of the qualities he sees in Calvin? And I always think a lot of the time with, like, what we were saying last week about how he's asking Click and Rodrigo to play this weird 8.75 position that makes no sense. Like, the thing with the Calvin position is that is a position that is very much Calvin's own, and like people compare Calvin to Declan Rice or N'Golo Kante, it's a completely different position, mate. I mean, don't get me wrong, on FIFA they're both called central defensive midfielders, but do they play the same role? No.
Totally different jobs.
Calvin's role is a very tailored role for him specifically, and to ask somebody that is a natural centre half to come in and play that position, like Sky actually had it on before the game that Llorente was playing there, and I was just thinking, Jesus Christ, Llorente's not playing there. I think we would have all been having a very different conversation had Llorente played there than Strike hadn't, to be honest. And I don't think Strike did a terrible amount wrong. Don't get me wrong, he was hooked, and rightfully so. Maybe it wasn't working. Bielsa will tell you more about that than I can, but realistically, like, I don't think it's fair to get on Strike's back and sort of slam him for being a shit CDM when realistically he's actually a very good centre back. He's one of the best centre backs at the club.
Most definitely. Yeah, I mean, I think that game, as much as I thought Llorente and Cooper did okay today, didn't do anything. It was a bit, they were okay today, but I don't think they've done anything drastically to make me say that when Koch is back in the team, when Struik's available, when Calvin's there, that I would say anything other than Koch and Struik at the back. Would you agree with that, Joe? Did you think any of them?
No, I agree with you. Don't get me wrong. I'm not. I'm just thinking. I don't think he had a bad game, and it felt.
I've been harsh. I'll be honest. I've been a bit harsh. I didn't think he was dominant. That's probably the best word for it. I think Robin Koch. I'm just thinking Robin Koch at Villa Park not last season, in October. He had Watkins in his pockets for kind of like 90 minutes, and it's just I think it's just the difference in quality between the two for me.
What? Say that again.
I thought if you compare the two in terms of Koch and Llorente, in terms of the right-sided centre-backs, because obviously both, they are probably in competition with each other for that spot. I think you look at Koch's performance against Watkins at Villa Park and compare that
you can't compare that, bro, for me.
Really?
I agree.
And I'll tell you for why, because it's a totally different game. We were out of sight, we were 3-0 up. It wasn't the same game. You can't compare them for me. I thought Llorente had a good game. I don't understand. There was times where I thought Watkins beat him, but instead of tell me what Watkins did. Apart from the slip shot, what did he do?
Nothing.
Watkins, I thought he was fine. Held the ball up really well. Loads of times held the ball up well.
What did he do?
I don't think he did a great deal.
In the first look at the first half, the way him, El Ghazi, Target linked up, caused us havoc on that side of the pitch.
To be honest, in the first half, all they did was shoot from distance. That's, to be honest, since a Wolves game, that's all anybody does against us.
It's true. But I just thought Watkins was I thought he was decent tonight. I really do. I don't think he was their best player for Villa tonight, but I thought he was much better tonight than what he was in that first game, to be fair.
But that isn't down to Llorente. You're not putting that. But that sounds like you're putting it down to Llorente.
No. I'm just saying, Llorente and Cooper, good defenders, no doubt about it. But I don't think they can be the main centre back. I don't think they can be the main protagonist in the back.
Are we saying that? So
because they both had an opportunity tonight to show the company.
Oscar, I feel like I already know the answer to this question for you personally, but I'm going to ask both of you. If all our centre halves are fit, who are your starting two? Left centre back and right centre back, and go.
Just on current form, Koch and Struik, but it could change. There's no question about that. I mean, don't get me wrong.
You're next, mate. Go on,
No, my thing is, I don't get why No, I want to know why we're having this discussion because I just want to know. No, but what I'm saying is we've gone down a tangent and we're having a discussion about the centre-back partnerships. Why? Because they were good. I thought Cooper was good. I thought Llorente was good. And
you can't lose headers against Watkins, though. I know if Villa went a bit 4-4,
Click, Dallas, Roberts, all lost headers.
Yeah, but they're not centre-backs.
They lost headers to John McGinn.
Yeah, but your centre-backs need to be dominant. That's the thing for me. You need one of them to be dominant and winning everything.
I agree with both of you on both points, to be fair.
I agree on that, though. Losing a header to John McGinn is a fine. It should be fined for that. Should be fined for that, to be fair.
Yeah, that's
it was embarrassing, that moment, to be fair. Oh, that's wound me up. Dennis Wise in that midfield tonight. Yeah. Oh, my word. Honestly. How annoying on a scale of 1 to 10 is John McGinn? I mean, he's got me on streaks, to be fair.
Did you see the thing a few weeks ago when they played Burnley about the thing that he said to Sean Dyche? He basically like put Sean Dyche in his place. I think Sean Dyche asked him like, "You've been in the Premier League 5 minutes. Who do you think you are?" And he said some proper. I can't remember exactly what it was, so I don't want to misquote it. But Google this. Like he said something back to Sean Dyche where I literally pissed myself laughing, and I was just like, you know what? I actually kind of like John McGinn. I hate Villa. Let me put that out there before anything. I hate Villa. Last time they came to Ellen Road was obviously that game. I hate Aston Villa, and I really, really don't like that we've lost to them. Dean Smith looks like a bulldog chewing a wasp permanently. Like that face does not change, and I'm not willing to get you guys in enough trouble to be able to tell you what I think of John Terry as their assistant. I don't think our legal team between the three of us could handle what I'd have to say.
Yeah, I think just like I say on the game itself, I mean. It was just one of them. I think we said straight away. I mean, we were sort of clutching at straws at half-time, but with Bielsa, he's going to make substitutions. He's going to make incremental changes. I don't think he needed to change it at half-time, personally. No. Some might disagree, but I think it just wasn't our night. That's all I can say. It wasn't our night, and it was a really poor game to watch, which is not what we're used to under Bielsa. It was a really poor game. I thought, like I say, Tyler just held on to it far too long. He had a couple of chances himself. For me, it's like he needs to shoot from the halfway line in order for it to be on target, because every shot that he takes just rises. So he might as well take it from halfway line, and he might have a chance of it getting to the top corner by the time it gets there. We spoke last night in the preview about Roberts, and the thing that's missing is his finishing, man. How many chances has he had over the last few games, to be honest, cutbacks, etc. And I think the big key for me is Rafinha at his best. I'm not having a go at Rafinha, but he's that magic man moment. We brought Pablo on. If Pablo's maybe got a little bit of more match sharpness, maybe his touch, because I've seen him take them, man. When it dropped late on in the second half, his touch let him down and Mings got end of it. If his touch is tight, that's going bang in the back of the net. The frustrating thing for me is we did not test Martinez once. I think the only time was Tyler Roberts' chance, to be fair, so maybe I'm giving him a bit too much stick. Yeah. But I don't know. It's
a horrible game, isn't it?
Yeah, we were nullified. In a simple sense, we were nullified, and to a larger degree, so were they. Let's not forget that. The game should not have ended 1-0 to them. It was a 0-0 game. Both teams didn't really offer that much, I don't think. Can you remember that many times where you thought, "Oh, Melier saved us here"?
Yeah. No, there wasn't.
Not at all.
They've not had much. And don't get me wrong, we've had especially in the second half, we've had very, very, very little. But I think 0-0 would have been fair. I'd have taken a draw. 1-0, it is what it is. We're just going to have to put up with it and move on. But it was a 0-0 game, wasn't it? It was a 0-0. It was a proper 0-0 game. We didn't deserve to win. We didn't deserve to lose. I think neither team deserved a point. We should both be fined for playing like that.
Can I I'm getting hammer here for what I've said about Llorente, but one thing is clear, and I don't care what you want to say to me, you need a centre-back in any team. One of them has to be able to win headers in the air. For me, I don't think Cooper and Llorente did enough of that. You can talk about having a go at me because I said you need a centre-back to be dominant. This isn't FIFA. This is actual football we're playing tonight.
I'm going to support you.
Box, set pieces. You need a defender to win headers. And that's all I was saying. That's the only point I was saying. Llorente and Cooper were fine tonight. Yeah. Let's move on to the midfield, because that midfield... I'm going to be consistent here, because I'm going to have a go at Tyler Roberts. He was awful tonight, giving the ball away. Too many times.
Yeah. No, I agree. I've got it here in my notes. Tyler held on too long. Roberts moved the ball. It's just Roberts. Because he's just so frustrating. Yeah.
I mean, I must admit, anyone giving Oscar stick for the Llorente criticism, I don't know why, because I could go a lot worse. I'm trying to like I said before, stay level-headed and just sort of not base my opinion on.
Are you saying that he had a poor game today?
I don't think he was great, no, to be honest. And maybe that's because I spent 90 minutes with... At kickoff, I decided I was going to watch him and compare him to Ben White. And without being rude, I was genuinely disappointed for 90 minutes. And like I said before, I'm not basing my entire opinion on Diego Llorente on this 90 minutes, and I'm going to reserve my judgment. But at this moment in time, like I said before, I'd rather see Robin Koch get back fit and get in, because I think Robin Koch would do a better job. And the same...
he wasn't the problem tonight. I don't get...
No, he wasn't. Nobody was the problem.
But the thing is, the only thing I'll say is, you got to look at the game itself. Villa went 1-up inside 7 minutes, and they sat back after that.
Yeah.
They didn't really go at us. If they'd have gone at us a little bit more, got crosses into the box for Watkins, I think we could have had a few more problems. That's all I'm saying. If the game had been 0-0 at that point...
With the Llorente versus White comparison, we're not just talking about a role as a central defender.
Fuck Ben White though, Phil.
No, but you've got
Ben
to.
White.
You do have to compare. You
Fuck
can't
that, man. I don't understand that.
Because last season we saw with Ben White in the team what Bielsa really wants from those two as a centre-back pairing, and we've seen Cooper's strength, which he did do tonight, was the long balls over the top. He had one particular long ball where Rafinha ended up winning that free kick and Target possibly should have been sent off. But Cooper is strong at leading and aerial duels and pinging them out from the back. And Ben White / the Ben White cover is then left with the responsibility, which for some reason Ayling didn't do that well tonight either, of carrying that ball out from the back and delivering key passes that aren't long switches and just like creating stuff going forward. Defensively, I'm not saying Llorente was poor, but in comparison to what Ben White gave of carrying that ball forward and dragging us up the pitch, Llorente did absolutely none of that tonight. And that is what Bielsa seems, in my opinion, to want from that right-sided centre-back role.
Right, let's just have a ban now and talking about any centre-backs. No more Ben White. Certainly no more Ben White, because we can get a bit sticky. Right, problem tonight, no question, creativity. And that's amazing to say that about a Leeds team. Rafinha not quite on it. Costa, Roberts, Click, just nothing happened. I mean, Bamford's was just completely isolated, wasn't it? I can't even have a go at Bamford. There's no criticism for me on Bamford too much. He just can't do any more than what he did. He just didn't get a chance tonight to score. Yeah, no, there's no criticism of Bamford for me. The thing is, there was one where Tyler tried to play him in, if I remember off the top of my head. I'll always back Bamford, but like you say, it was just no service today. And maybe, look, the squad, bar the centre-backs, really. Even Luke Ayling's gone off the boil for me. You just mentioned centre-backs. No, we can't talk about centre-backs. We're going to get more stick.
No, because I'm saying bar the centre-backs. I'm with the chat. But what I'm saying is,
I can't see the chat, by the way.
Hey?
I can't see this chat.
It's a good job, mate, 'cause you'll get a lot of hammer here, you know.
By the centre backs, it just had a very championship feel. Yeah, it was very even the substitutions. And I know your dad was saying on the stream, you know, Pablo got us up and dragged us up, and I understand it. And I've seen Dad saying we need to be starting Pablo. He's not at the races, man. He's not up to it for me. I wouldn't.
I agree.
I just don't think, and that touch let him down. And whenever he's come on, he hasn't looked dangerous. I think, look, the glaring thing currently is we are missing Calvin Rodrigo.
Massively,
you know,
yeah, of course.
Click's injured, you know, carrying an injury. You can see that he's not up to it 100%. Maybe he needs, you know, but we can't afford
we should just drop him out now, Click.
We can't afford to, bro. We can't afford to.
I know, but Shackleton could buy something different.
Might have played tonight. Shackleton could have come on and made a difference tonight, but he's injured, you know.
Yeah, he is. He is. Aren't they?
So the argument with Click is: do you want the same thing to happen to Click as happened to Forshaw? Like, if we wait too long, we could absolutely murder the poor bloke.
Yeah, no,
He's clearly not right, is he? It's
No.
clear because I think
It's
it's
not
not
an
just he's not just playing badly because it's not just that. I thought at times tonight he did get on the ball in that sort of first start of
He
the
wasn't
first
the
half.
problem.
No, I don't think anyone is specifically the problem tonight. That's one thing I will emphasise. You know, I've talked a little bit about defenders and that lot. I don't think anyone was specifically the problem. Just as a team, it didn't gel tonight. It happens. You know what I mean? But you've got to remember, you know, Villa have lost games softly at home this season. Everyone's lost games softly at home. You know, Liverpool, look at them. You know, everyone in the league. You know, I think it's a different game as well with fans in the grounds. You know, I think there's times in that game where start of that second half, it just all felt flat tonight. That's the thing for me. You know, considering how good we were midweek, it all felt a little bit flat. I think me and you were saying, Joe, we were in 5 or 10 minutes of that second half. We could tell what was going to happen.
Yeah.
It was so obvious, wasn't it? Even before the subs, it never changed, did it?
I think there was 3 occasions. I remember going mad on the stream. There was 3 occasions where there was 3 passes to Rafinha that were either behind him, ahead of him, or not. You know, there was a few. And I remember being annoyed at the time, and it just felt at that moment as well, it's not really happening. And it didn't really happen for Rafinha. A few of his touches let him down tonight as well. And maybe that's with the switch, maybe the whole change. But, I've seen people mention not bringing starting Costa, but I don't think Harrison did jot when he came on. But look, it was just one of them nights. It is what it is. It was frustrating.
Do you think the result would have been any different though if we would have started Harrison and?
No. That's what I mean. I don't.
The biggest difference maker was Calvin for me. I think that was the biggest difference maker.
Yeah,
it's all well and good me talking about defenders, and to be fair, I probably shouldn't have gone in as much as I did. I'll hold my hands up to that one. But Phillips was the big one. That was the big blow for me.
Yeah.
Yeah. Obviously, Calvin is. I mean, don't get me wrong, Rafinha.
Rodrigo finishes some of them Roberts as well.
Yeah, I mean, Rodrigo compared to Roberts, there's no denying who is better in that position. Like, one of them costs 27 mil, one doesn't. It's as simple as that. But no, Calvin, Rodrigo aside, Calvin is one of our best players and has been for the last 2-3 seasons. So anytime that he's not there, then obviously it's going to be a massive gap that's felt by the team. And we've already proved that throughout this season at times that we do struggle to fill that gap. And from what I can hear from the inside noises at the club is that that's one of the main priorities this summer. We are going to find somebody that when Calvin's not playing, we have cover for that position. But at this moment in time, we don't have that person. So
I don't agree with that. I don't. I don't know what Harrison did.
Not much in it, is there? They're just both the same performance.
Do you want my take on the Harrison Costa debate and what I think has kind of contributed to what's gone on the last few weeks? I simply put it down to body language between both of them. I thought for the period where Costa was getting pelters from our fans on Twitter, he was running for balls and not getting them, and then he turned around and looked like someone had just pissed on his Christmas tree. And then the same thing where the last few games, like I was on the last show last week saying, I don't think that Jackie's been that bad. His first touch is brilliant, but his body language was starting to go a little bit south and he was starting to look disappointed when he didn't go for things. And then today, in the first hour of the game, I honestly don't think body language wise, looking at Costa, I thought he looked confident. He looked like he deserved his place back in the team. Don't get me wrong, I said on the last show I would have started Harrison, not Costa. But I think Costa looked confident. He looked okay. He didn't make any big mistakes. He did nothing wrong for me to deserve to be hooked. But at the same time, at the time that he got bought off, I thought it was time to see a change. And when Harrison came on, I didn't see any sort of sign to say he was bad. I think it may just go on body language and what Bielsa perceives as who has more confidence. And don't forget, Harrison ended up coming on the right wing instead of his left position, and the inverted wingers thing that's going on. It's a case of Rafinha is a better right winger than Costa. He's a better left winger seemingly at the moment than Harrison. So whichever one Rafinha is going to go on is where you choose the other.
Could we just clone Rafinha?
Mate, Rafinha can't play on both wings. I think Bielsa would wish he could.
But there's Rodrigo as well. Forget about Rodrigo. Yeah, what a difference he made at Villa Park last time. It's just hard to take, isn't it, today? I think the fact Grealish and Cash were out the team, I felt a bit more confident than I probably did last time we played them, to be fair, going into it. But, I mean, that's the thing. I mean, to be fair, I think in the comments, quite a lot of people are disagreeing with us, but I just don't really see, there was no creativity, just all round, nothing. I can't think of anything that was particularly positive on tonight. That's the bad thing. And it's just a frustrating 90 minutes. And I've already kind of moved on.
Props as well. Like, we have to give props to Villa.
Yeah, of course.
We did not capitalise on the fact that El Hamadi was at right back. This is why I think Rafinha wasn't at it as well, because I cannot remember one time El Hamadi was in any trouble whatsoever. One moment, actually, when a ball was passed into him and he one touch into the channel. I think we did not trouble Mings. We did not trouble Konza. You know, Martinez had one effort to deal with and he dealt with it. You know, the guy was taking painkillers and couldn't kick the ball, you know, for the second half. But this is the thing, though. We didn't even test him, you know. If we're on top and we're absolutely peppering them, which you normally expect from a Leeds United side, then maybe that is also an advantage kind of thing. But it's the fact that he did that. And, you know, Chris Kelly says, you know, Villa did a job, they deserved the win. I'm not sure they deserved. No, but I don't think they deserved the win.
Maybe not deserved the win, but
they did do a job, but saying they deserved the win is a bit far-fetched for me. Like, how many saves? I mean, we're saying Martinez didn't get tested much. Do you remember Meslier? Is Meslier going out with a bad back tonight?
Well, the thing is, though, the only thing I say is that the fact of the matter, they went in with that plan: go one up, sit in, try and hit us on the counter. And I just think from that point of view, had it been 0-0 to half time, I think it might have been a little bit more like the Southampton game where both teams are creating chances. I just think the fact they scored so early just kind of gave them an opportunity to sit in. And they just went that plan, didn't they?
Any life out of the game, didn't it? I mean, I would echo the comment that was just there from the Lad to Leeds podcast. I mean, that's kind of hit the nail on the head a little bit for me. I would hate getting beaten 1-0 in games like this, and the Wolves game massively, to be able to watch what at least we try to play. I mean, it didn't work, but at least we're still trying to play the right way. Like, they literally had defenders taking goal kicks at 70 minutes, and maybe Martinez did need painkillers. For me, that's just a bullshit story, and they were time wasting. And then obviously they got the first yellow card for time wasting at 75, 80 minutes. Back in the day when, like, we were in, like 10 years ago, if you wanted to see someone drag a ball into a corner flag to start time wasting, you're thinking, right, 93 minutes on the clock here, get it in the corner. Not 80 minutes, man. 75 minutes gone and you're in the corner flag. You're taking piss. Like, that's not what any football fan wants to watch.
No. Not
really. So as long as we don't play like that, we are going to get beaten here and there, but I'd rather see us try and play football, even if tonight wasn't us playing football, than that.
This is a good point of Xavier there. To be fair, first 20-25 minutes, it feels a long distance away, but
it does,
it's really good, wasn't it? The game was actually really good. It just kind of just went after that. I think Villa kind of saw the risk that, I'll tell you what, if we stay open here, Leeds can get chances, and they kind of thought, we'll sit right back now.
All Smith said, I caught his post-match was, that, like, obviously second half, low block, but he also said, like, because of the state of the pitch, they did not want to take any risks whatsoever, and every time they got the ball, they hit it long, and that's all they did do. You know, whenever, you know, the set pieces, we said from the start, Oscar, all Martinez was doing was just putting it down that left channel all day. You know, and maybe that's why there's been that extra focus on Llorente, because he was on the right-hand side of the defence and he was being called upon a lot more than Cooper. Maybe that's why there's a focus on it. But, I think, it was... it is what it is. Like, to be honest, I'm sick of talking about.
It's one of them, isn't it?
You brought that up then. Nobody else. That was you.
No, I don't mean Llorente. I mean this game. It was shit.
All right, we'll do a player ratings on a different game.
Yeah.
Do you want to rate the 1966 World Cup final? I think we should just do that, shouldn't we, instead?
Or
Probably
should we do
more
the
10.
Champions League semi-final against, or quarter-final against Deportivo La Coruña.
Yeah, let's go for it. Let's go for it, mate. Let's go for it.
Yeah, I mean, Jack Grealish just tweeted out as well. Jack Grealish just goes, loads of laughy faces, and then what a time to be alive. And it's like, this is the same guy that doesn't understand why Leeds fans dislike him. What are you talking about?
Fuck that guy. Sorry for my language, but fuck that
that's
guy.
Right,
what I'll say is,
you know
though,
what I mean?
you know, on Jack Grealish, I think it'd be more difficult for Villa to play the way they did tonight with Jack Grealish in the team. You know, having to work. Because basically, El Ghazi, I thought, was probably maybe not man of the match, but certainly second or third in line in that sense. He was basically playing right back most of the game. He followed Rafinha all the way back, never left him exposed. Sorry, at left back, followed Costa all the way, never let Costa expose Matty Target. Other side of the pitch, you got Traore, did his shift as well. Trezeguet came on, did his shift, and I don't think you can do that as easily with Grealish in the team. I think that's why Barkley didn't play. I think that's a big reason why Barkley didn't play this game, because he knew he doesn't give that steal in midfield. The way Villa got that midfield set up was spot on. John McGinn was unbelievable tonight in terms of that midfield performance from him. I don't like John McGinn. I'm not going to make any mistake about that, but he's a top player, and you'd love to have someone like that in your team. Love to have someone like that in your team, and he's just reliable, isn't he? That's the thing.
Yeah, perhaps.
He doesn't do sexy things on the ball and that lot. He's not a particularly flashy player, but he is someone that's a 7 or 8 out of 10 man kind of thing. He's probably their Stuart Dallas almost.
The Scottish James Milner.
Yeah, I guess. But James Milner wouldn't have done any of what he was doing today. He wouldn't. James Milner's as honest as to come.
He's a proper player, is Milner, isn't he? Bring him home.
He'd have chinned John McGinn in the tunnel, to be fair.
Mate, Tyler Roberts could have chinned that target properly and at least deserved the yellow card he got. Referee, shocking.
Well, he just threw the ball at his knee, wasn't it? I mean, the target there when he went down, that was shocking, isn't it? Shocking.
How Matt Target hasn't got sent off. And
the Campbell as well.
The referee, man, like, the one person I hate the most from tonight is the referee. Like, how he's not given a yellow card for El Mohammedi's challenge in the first half, but he has given a yellow card for, firstly, Tyler for that incident, and then Click as well. Like, what are you doing, referee? Just get a grip, man.
I've just got Bielsa's post-match thought. So he says Bielsa felt a draw would have been fair, but if anyone deserved to win it, it was Leeds, who dominated the second half and created 6 chances in the first. Felt Villa defended well, but put the blank down to poor imagination and precision from Leeds. No final ball. Do we agree? Disagree?
100%.
Dominated.
Already said it, mate.
At any time did we dominate for you? Possession?
No, we dominated possession. I think that might be the more accurate statement. Like, we dominated the ball. Yeah. We didn't dominate in terms of the chances we created, which is obviously why he said we created 6 chances in the first half, and he's made no comment on what we created in the second half. But dominated possession, certainly. And I said half an hour ago, the game was a 0-0 game. They didn't deserve to win it. I don't think we deserve to win it either. I think that would be far-fetched, but 0-0 game, 100%.
He's also said he would not be drawn on any of the chances of any injured players returning for West Ham with 9 days still to go, but you would hope that maybe we might see 1 or 2. But yeah, that's my...
The only thing I'd say is, basically, get that Brighton game from January, replay that game, replay the Villa game.
Yeah.
They're the same game. They are. I'm convinced of the same game. Morpay scores in like the first minute against us in that game. It's like just one question, I guess, because we're approaching half 8.
Yeah.
Who's in the better place now to kick on next season, Leeds or Aston Villa? In your opinion, in your honest opinion, I'll go to Wayman first. On the basis they keep Grealish in the summer.
I'm still going Leeds. Always Leeds, mate. Yeah, we've got Marcelo Bielsa, bro.
Yeah,
their first season they stayed up because of a technicality. Let's not.
Well, people forget that. You know, in the comments and that. I still agree. I still think we're in the better place. I think
100%.
I think it's more sustainable what we're trying to do. If I'm being honest.
Yeah, mate. I'm not being funny. Like, don't get me wrong. Last season they stayed up on a technicality. This season they're doing all right. But look who they've got in charge. We've got Dean Smith. Like, he's He's doing a fine job. He's doing okay, but he's not Marcelo Bielsa, and he hasn't got the tools at his disposal that we have. And I think we will strengthen.
Look at Mike Jones. Not safe yet, Mark. You can't be being serious. You can't.
What I'll
Mark,
say is,
honestly, please.
no. It's fine. We're fine. There's no bother about that. You've seen.
We're 10th, bro. We're 10th.
Brighton have just lost to West Brom. It's not a concern. It's not a concern. But the only thing I say about Villa, they might have more money. They don't spend it particularly well. Okay, They've got Watkins, they've got Martinez, Konza. But what about the other signings they've made? They've not spent it particularly well. We've got a proper recruitment team in place in terms of how we go and target players. We've done it already in the first season. I still think we're in the better place overall. And we won 3-1 in aggregate. That's the thing to say. Yeah. We got the 3 away goals at Villa Park. Yeah. Ha!
On to the next one. On to West Ham now, boys. On to West Ham. And on to the player ratings.
On to the next video. The next happy video we'll do. Right. We'll close this one off anyway, guys. Make sure you keep locked, and we will go on to the player ratings. See you in 2 seconds, guys.